Hello friends, welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. In the last video, we saw many things about the preamble, the DPSP, the fundamental rights. So these three pillars we have covered: the fundamental rights, the preamble, and the DPSP. In one way, these all parts of the preamble. And now we are moving on to the fourth pillar, that is the FD or fundamental duties. So let's see what are the fundamental duties. The Soren Singh Committee. Please remember the name of this committee. It's very important and sometimes is asked in the exams. In 1976, recommended 1976. I hope you remember this era. Not that you were born in this era, of course, but from the textbooks and the knowledge that this was an era of emergency during the period of Indira Gandhi's government. So Soren Singh Committee in this period recommended fundamental duties, the necessity of which was felt during the internal emergency of 1975 to 77. The 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 added 10 fundamental duties to the Indian Constitution. So what had been happening till then is that Constitution was made and the spirit of the Constitution, the soul, the preamble was written. Furthermore, it was evolved into the fundamental rights which protected the citizens as well as some foreigners. In the DPSP, which directed the state that how a state should behave with its citizens. And now a need was felt to direct the citizens towards the state, that how citizens should behave with the state. That is why FD were created, fundamental duties were created. That means it's the duty of all the citizens to be adherent towards these 10 duties and try to fulfill them all the times. That's why we are also a dynamic part of the Constitution. By fulfilling our duties, we are completing our parts or our contribution towards the Constitution or the functioning of the Constitution. So it's a two-way thing. Alright, so the fundamental duties are dealt with in the Article 51A and the Part 4A of the Indian Constitution. So please remember, we started with the fundamental rights. Then we hopped on to the DPSP. And after the DPSP, there are fundamental duties. So these are the duties which say abide by the Indian Constitution. This is the first and foremost priority. And respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Second thing is cherish and follow the noble ideas that inspired the national struggle for freedom. These ideas are again given in the duly mentioned in the preamble, as India should be sovereign, a democratic, a republic, as well as socialist and secular. Uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. This comes from the third part, that promote among them all what? Fraternity, which will guarantee the unity and integrity of the nation as well as the individual dignity. So these come from the fundamental duty again. Defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. That means when the country is in time of crisis and there's a shortage of men to fight, so normal people could be called, civilians could be called to act in a military sense, and they should go. Furthermore, promote harmony. Harmony again relates to secularism in such a way, and the spirit of common brotherhood, that means the fraternity, which is mentioned in the preamble. Amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional diversities, and renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. That means a social security. Value and preserve the rich heritage of the Chinese composite culture. Protect and improve the national environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and have compassion for living creatures. Develop scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. So these are the modern state principle from the DPSP. Okay. Furthermore, safeguard public property and abjure violence. Strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and the collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher level of endeavor and achievement. And provide opportunities for education to his child. This is Article 21A. Between the age of 6 and 14 years in the 86th Amendment of 2002. This was added in Article 21A after the right to life and property, the right to education. All right. Let's now talk about the observations. So when we started with preamble, we saw that preamble tries to constitute India. Preamble tries for three things: to constitute, to secure to all the citizens, and to promote. To constitute India into five things: sovereign, democratic, socialist, republic, and secular. To secure to all its citizens what? Justice of three sorts, whether it is social or economic or legal justice, and secure equality of employment and opportunity, या फिर status and opportunity, and secure the liberty for five things: thought, expression, belief, faith, and justice. And to promote them, among them all, fraternity. That would be for the dignity of the individual as well as the unity and integrity of the nation. So this was the preamble basically, and many ideas evolved from here, whether they are fundamental rights. Fundamental rights will protect your liberty, will protect you from government's overuse of power to snatch any of your rights, will protect you and give you the freedom of expression, speech, movement, religion, or profession. Also save you from any sort of discrimination. Alright, and the other things, whether you take the fundamental duties, they are the citizens' part towards the constitution, and they promote fraternity as well as the brotherhood towards the unity and integrity of nation. When we come to the DPSP, they strive to make India a socialistic as well as secular country. All right. So what do we conclude from here? We conclude that Constitution has its spirit in the preamble, has all the data in the preamble, and from preamble only the fundamental rights, the DPSP, as well as the fundamental duties have emerged. This is the soul of the Constitution and the first pillar, and these are the rest of the pillar. without which the constitution will not be possible and would not be defined clearly. All right, so this is our conclusion. Now let's see the first option, that the chief purpose of constitution of any country is. So we'll see it in respect of India. So it determines the objective of making of necessary laws. So is this the chief, is it a part or the utility of the constitution? Yes, it's a utility. It determines the objective, and the objective is to provide equality and social security to everybody. All right, so these hence become the necessary laws. If let's say there is a criminal, he is a threat to somebody, then this person, this criminal, must be eliminated from the society some way or the other. Only then all of the other people in the society will be able to securely live. Okay, so this is the necessity for creating this law. And if the constitution is saying that there must be social security, that means there must be a law to provide this social security. But is it the chief function of the constitution? Then the answer is no. Let's come to the second option. It enables the creation of political offices and a government. It means to say that it enables, yes, it does enable. There are constitutional bodies, there are statutory bodies. But is it the chief function of a constitution? Could there be political offices had there not been a constitution? Then yes. In the absence of a constitution, there could have been political offices still existing. All right, let's come to the fourth option, sorry. It secures social justice, social equality, and social security. Okay. So this defines the social functions of the constitution. This is a major objective of the constitution. Does it do so? Yes. But is it the chief function? No. Because a constitution has many other things to rely upon. It's not the chief function. It's one of the important functions. Let's come to the third option. It defines and limits the power of the government or the state. Let's ponder upon this option now. Let's come to the fundamental rights. Most important part of the constitution. In essence, their structure is negative. It says that nobody will be discriminated against. A person's right to life and property cannot be snatched. Nobody is higher or lower against the law. All right. Nobody is higher or lower because of their religion, caste, race. These are all fundamental rights. Rights mean you are having all the rights, and that is not something positive. It's natural. All right, it's neutral. You not having the rights is negative, and that is a violation of your rights. All right, you have nothing extra, nothing special when you are just wandering around. You don't have to carry anything with yourself. You don't have to display that you have all the rights while you are doing something. They are yours naturally. But as soon as some force tries to intervene in your rights, it becomes violative of your fundamental rights. All right. This means that government, had there been no constitution, let's say you are in China or North Korea, where there is no requirement of a constitution, government can act without any due procedure of law or due process of law. All right, so government can act without any due process of law, but actually by just making any law, simple, arbitrarily and unreasonable. This is what we saw in the last question also. This question is completely related to that question only. Okay, let's say there is a constitution. It says that everything should be according to law. One dictator comes, makes a law and proceeds according to that law. Okay, so what is the constitution's role here? Constitution role is to define that whether this law is constitutional or not, whether this law is just and fair or not. Its main purpose is not to tell you the objective of this law or to enable the creation of this law. Its main objective is to tell you whether this law is just, fair or not, natural or not. That means the constitution puts a power upon arbitrariness, that no random laws can be made, no unreasonable actions can be done when you are in a democracy. So it limits, not only defines, but also limits the powers of the government via various fundamental rights, via various DPSPs, via a correct sole in the preamble. So this is the correct answer to our question, that the chief function of any constitution of a country is to define and limit the power of the government towards who it rules. All right. This also sends us a signal that constitution is a safeguard for all of us. All right. That whether even in a democracy where the government is completely elected by the people, so any democracy is not a true complete democracy. Government does have extra power over all of the citizens, but they have to be regulated via the constitution upon interpretation by the judiciary. The judiciary can even completely negate any law by the legislative. It can say that this law is invalid according to the constitution and hence cannot be applied. All right, so this is the main function of the constitution. So I hope this lecture was knowledgeable for you. This is Yatharth signing off. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Keep studying and be bright.